Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday morning, September the 13th, and here are your headlines for the day. And we'll start off with the Charlie Kirk assassination. More details about that. Of course, yesterday we found out they caught the young man who supposedly did this, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. The weapon used was a military surplus weapon that was over 100 years old. That's one headline I saw. Wow. Tyler is reportedly linked to several Discord groups calling for the extermination of Christians, which is interesting because, as I understand it, now, I don't know. None of us know. People share things all the time. We don't know things. All we know is what we read and what we see from a distance. But from some things I've seen, I think his family, his parents are Christians. If not Christians, at least supposedly conservatives. His dad was in, I think he's retired law enforcement. And from all reports, it seems like this young man was raised with good conservative values, at least, and went off to college and got indoctrinated by liberal left-wing professors. I shared something about this on our church family Facebook page, just saying, parents, man, so many parents get so excited when their son or daughter gets accepted into a school. And they're going to my college, where I went to college. The college you went to is not the college you went to anymore. We get so excited and celebrate when we send our kids off to a college where they are going to do all they can very often to indoctrinate them with left-wing, liberal, ungodly values. They're going to try to take all the godly values you instilled in them and rip them out of their hearts and minds. Get them to question everything you've ever taught them. That's maybe, it seems like, what happened here. And we still have people celebrating the assassination. The man, I don't know if you saw the video, right after it happened, a man stands up and is doing this to a camera behind him, like he's cheering. And he now claims he was chanting USA to create a distraction. I got some oceanfront property in Arizona you might be interested in too. I find that hard to believe. It didn't look like that's what he was doing. And State Representative Adam Matthews has called for the immediate resignation of Judge Ted Berry following controversial social media comments regarding the death of Charlie Kirk. Some of the comments he made included, quote, "rest in hatred and division." This is what these people don't understand. He's the one, this guy's the one sowing hatred and division. You can't. It's getting hard to figure out, how do you share a country with people who think like this? Because they're everywhere. They're right around here. I'm hearing about people who live right around here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast who have posted things. I got to be careful what I say here, but I mean, they've posted horrible things. I don't know. How do you, I don't know. This is the way you feel? Because I don't know a conservative-minded person who's ever celebrated the assassination of a leftist or a liberal. This is weird. And they don't see that they're the ones who are being hateful. They point the finger at people like me and say, hate, 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 and they're saying stuff like this. It's weird. There's something going on spiritually inside of them. It's demonic. It's that spirit of Herodias I talked about a couple days ago. He also said, how's he, Charlie Kirk, feel about gun violence and gun control in hell now? as well as a remark celebrating the race of the killer. So, a white guy killed him. Color it karma. Goodness gracious. Moving on. During a press release today, Utah governor calls social media a cancer on our society. I don't disagree with him. Yeah. No doubt our world, it would not be the way it is today if not for social media. You know, in social media, here I am using social media. And I mean, honestly, I feel like I have to. Like I do miss the days when church was not online. And, if you wanted to hear a sermon you missed, you had to get a cassette tape. And people were not able to just say everything they thought all the time. I miss those days. I mean, if it's out there and everybody else is going to use it, I feel like I need to as well, feel like we need to take advantage of it for the church. But I would rather nobody able to use it. It just, boy, stuff gets stirred up. Moving on. Birth pangs. A powerful magnitude 7.7 earthquake struck off the coast of Russia last night. And Israel news. Let's do some Israel news, and then I'll give you a good news item. Benjamin Netanyahu vows there will be no Palestinian state ahead of the highly anticipated UN meeting. Now, hang on to that, because I'm giving them to you in order yesterday. Benjamin Netanyahu says there will be no Palestinian state ahead of the UN meeting. He said this. The White House is reportedly frustrated with Netanyahu, fearing he wants to tank ceasefire talks. And then this came in. The United Nations yesterday voted 142 to 10 in favor of endorsing the New York Declaration, which calls for the establishment of a state of Palestine. Among those alleged allies of Israel, namely India and Azerbaijan, voted in favor of creating a Palestinian state. It outlines an action plan intended to establish a, quote, irreversible path toward the creation of a Palestinian state. Now, this was, here, you understand, this was first adopted back in July. And now it's come up again, and it's going to come up again in a few days, September 22nd, I think it is. So they keep, this is weird because they keep strengthening it. And we know that Daniel 9:27 says that he, the Antichrist, will confirm or strengthen a covenant with many. At some point, they're going to strengthen it, and that's going to be the kickoff of the tribulation period. I know somebody who thinks it's already kicked off. I don't know about that. I don't know. But I think this absolutely is, at some point, it's going to kick it off. This. The few who voted against the measure included Argentina, Hungary, Israel, and the United States. Now, if that's got to happen in order for Jesus to come back, then we want it to happen, right? What we want is for Jesus to come back. And we let him worry. We pray, Lord, you come, and we let him worry about working out how that happens. But it is good that the United States votes against this. Because when Jesus comes back at the end of let me teach you something here. When he comes back at the end of the tribulation period, he's going to assemble the nations for the judgment of the sheep and the goats. And who goes into the tribulation period, or who goes into the millennial reign of Christ at that time? On this earth. I'm not talking about us, disciples of Jesus. We will not be on this earth at that time. But those on the earth who go into the millennial reign of Christ will be determined in large part by their attitude toward Israel during the tribulation period. Sheep and goats. That's when Jesus says, I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was in prison, you visited me. That's specifically talking about the tribulation period. And he said, to the least of these brothers of mine. That's talking about Christians maybe and Jews and how they're treated during the tribulation period when they're being mistreated by everybody else. So absolutely, I'm going to talk about this more in the morning. I hope you'll be here. I'm going to share some stuff with you that absolutely, as we finish up 7 letters to the 7 churches it just so happens, boom, we're right here in what's going on today. I can't wait to share some stuff with you that kind of back up what I've believed all along. But anyway, it's going to be good. Finally, another Israel news. The Spanish Prime Minister sparks an uproar after hinting that a nuclear arsenal could stop Israel's war on Hamas. Israel's war on Hamas. What about Hamas's war on Israel? You know, and this is the thing. Let me say about this. You can't, but Hamas doesn't want to fight anymore. Oh, whatever. Give me a break. Besides, you can't attack and on October 7th, 2 years ago, they did this horrible thing they did. Invaded Israel, attacked civilians. If I start saying things they did, I might get flagged here. They did what they did. Israel strikes back and bam, 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 bam. And then you say, oh, no, I'm sorry, never mind. Because they're getting their tails kicked? No. I don't blame Israel for doing whatever they got to do to make sure that is never able to happen again. Good news. Here's the good news item. Over 9,000 Oklahoma students seek God at Unite Us. Ohio State football team reaches hundreds for Jesus. I do keep hearing good things about what's going on with the Ohio State. I'm not an Ohio State fan. That's Yankee territory. You know, I'm SEC. But I keep hearing good things about what's going on and spiritually there. Now, y'all know me, and people get mad at me because of this, but I don't jump on this bandwagons because I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know what's being said. I don't know what's being done. If 9,000 students, I hope, and I would assume some of them are actually going to make it to heaven, the promised land. I hope they're going to get not only, see, a lot of times people rejoice because it's 9,000 people now going to heaven. 9,000 people maybe got started going to heaven, on their way to heaven, got started on the narrow road. Now they got to be taught right and discipled right. I hope they sincerely bowed to Jesus as their Lord. Not just got baptized, prayed a prayer, I believe in Jesus. I'm going to heaven now. No, I hope they bowed to Jesus as their Lord. And now they will keep walking with the Lord and growing in their salvation and working out their salvation with fear and trembling. But that is good news. That's better than 9,000 students gathering to do something else. Now we got to see how many of those 9,000 get drunk and sleep around this weekend. Anthony, you always got to find the cloud and the silver lining, don't you? I just want you to make it to heaven, y'all. I just want you to make it to heaven. Y'all have a good day. I hope to see you at church in the morning. It's going to be good.